What do you think about Western democracy?
I'll begin by sticking up my finger, and don't take it badly, it's the index finger. Senator, you said that, democracy doesn't put food on your table. Actually, in my part of the world, it does.
Now, there's one of my favorite stories about Mahatma Gandhi was when he traveled to Britain and somebody asked him, what do you think about Western civilization? And he said, I think it would be a good idea.
We're still waiting.
So let me paraphrase that slightly. As we're having this discussion, this tortured discussion, what do you think about Western democracy?
Well, look, before I do that, because I think I appear to be an optimist in what is a relatively pessimistic panel, if not room. So I'll begin by sticking up my finger, and don't take it badly, it's the index finger. The mark you see on my nail is a mark of a person who's just voted. We just had an election in my state, just over. Last year, we had a national election. In Indian elections, roughly 2/3 of eligible voters vote. At the national election, electorate of about 900 million, about 700 million voted. We count the votes in a single day. Nobody disputes the result after it's announced. And if you look, and by the way, from the time we started voting in the modern era, 20% people more vote today than they did decades ago. So the first message that somehow democracy is in trouble globally, worldwide, I'm sorry, I have to differ with it. I mean, right now, we are living well, we are voting well, we are optimistic about the direction of our democracy, and for us, democracy is actually delivered. Senator, you said that, democracy doesn't put food on your table. Actually, in my part of the world, it does, because it actually, today, because we are a democratic society, we give nutrition support, food support to 800 million people, and for whom that is a matter, of how healthy they are and how full their stomachs are. So the point I want to make is, look, different parts of the world are going through different conversations. Please do not assume that this is some kind of universal phenomenon. It is not. There are parts where it is working well. Maybe there are parts where it's not. And the parts which are not, I think people need to have an honest conversation about why it's not. But I would argue that as to an extent as someone dispassionately viewing it, which was your question, there are some problems. A lot of it is an accumulated problem of the model of globalization that we've followed for the last 25, 30 years. I think a lot of chickens have come home to roost. Yes, there are issues, but from our perspective today, for us, democracy is delivered. We have a visibly less elitist society. We have one where the public has faith in the political process, where actually every election, in a way, has been a kind of a verdict on the quality of governance. That, I told you we just voted in one. My party won that election. We were in the opposition earlier. We had a national election. My party won that election too, and we were incumbents. And we feel, if Prime Minister Modi got elected for the third time, the ruling party got elected, and to a large extent it is because of the delivery through democratic systems. So it is healthy, it is well, maybe not all over the world, but let's not make that universal.